Hello, and welcome yet to another episode of the Camera Junkie live stream. My name is Luis, also known as Mr. Camera Junkie, where I remind you, as always, to upgrade your skills before your gear. And if it's your first time here, well, then welcome. Please be sure to introduce yourself into the chat so you can get the nice Camera Junkie crew welcome. Uh, right off the bat, guys, I'm exhausted, and I'm trying to come in here with as much energy as I possibly can. So we're going to get through it. But FYI, I'm in the middle of a move and I'm just using all my energies as possible to get up and down stairs with boxes to and fro. So with that being said, as tradition goes around here, the first thing that we always do is to go ahead to check to see who are the first members of the crew hanging out in the chat. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's move over to our comment screen over here. And all right off the bat, we got Parker Jennings in the house saying hello to everyone. We also got Paul, Mr. Moderator, in the house saying greetings. And we got Randy in the house saying, hello, everyone. It's finally happening. Congratulations, Lewis. Yes, and it is happening. FYI, just to give you the update, I got the keys like a week early, So since I got the keys, or as soon as I was projected to get the keys, I started loading up the car with boxes, and as soon as I got them in hand and everything, I started loading up for the first time. And the majority of my things are already there that I already had boxed up because I had been going at this for months. So that's already at the place number 2. But there is a bit of a dilemma, which I'm going to talk to you guys. I'm just going to vent, right? Which is I was duped. I was conned, so to speak. And it's unfortunate, but I'm gonna have to figure it out because one of my biggest things, one of my biggest concerns with the move, some of you might have already known because of me mentioning it, is the internet, right? And being a podcast producer, social media creator, one of the biggest things is upload speeds, and I'm very fortunate. No, let me move screens over here. That I've had fiber optic internet, here in South Florida, so that's never really been an issue. The apartment that I signed the lease on and that we're moving into, got the keys and everything. I started to do my due diligence. I started to do my own research on this place, and I started asking about the internet and found out that okay, it wasn't AT&T, it wasn't Comcast, but it was another company called oh, I forgot the name of it right now. Blue something, but it was fiber. So it was like, man, let me see if I can get the phone thing. it's, it's so unfortunate because this is exactly what sucks about it. It's the name of the company, not the service that they're providing. So okay, so this is the name, Blue Stream Fiber. Okay, so Blue Stream Fiber. Let show you. See if you guys can see this on my phone. This company right here, Blue Stream Fiber, is the one that provides the internet service for that location. So I had first gotten in contact with AT&T, which is my ISP at the moment, and they were like, hey, we can get you internet, but it's over the air. It's 5G internet, but for the home. And I'm like, I definitely need a hard line. Like, I need something way more stable than wireless internet. That it gets too cloudy and I'm out of service, especially for uploads. So currently, for my father, I have that same 5G service, but I'm using it with T-Mobile. And T-Mobile is giving me pretty decent speeds, but it's still not anything near like landline, so to speak. As reliable. It's consistent, right? Especially for uploads. Downloads, they're pretty good actually, but uploads is the big thing here. So because it's a mobile unit, I was able to take it from my father's home and already place it into the new apartment because we can use it wherever, and at least we have something there. I call AT&T and T and they tell me they're giving me the same type of service. And I'm like, okay, no. So let me do some more research. I call Comcast. Comcast directs me to AT&T. I finally find Bluestream Fiber, which is what they're telling me. Hey, we have fiber, Bluestream Fiber. And I'm like, okay, I call the company. I wait like an hour on the phone. Finally get in contact with an agent. And I'm like, hey, I'm ready to set this up. And they're like, sure, we can set this up. We can provide it to you. But it's not fiber optics. It is cable speeds and max uploads of like 35 megabits per second. And I'm like, you have got to be kidding me. Like, you have got to be kidding me. Like, so that's where the switcheroo is, so to speak. I was duped by the name of the company, which is called Bluestream Fiber, except everywhere that they provide service doesn't carry fiber. Now it's like older than Comcast's latest cable internet, and it's super slow. Um, so now I think I'm stuck using Spotify, not Spotify, excuse me. See, this is where a little bit of the tiredness is coming in. Speedify. And now I think I need to use Speedify, and I'm going to need to have 3 internet service providers at least. I think I'm going to have to do Bluestream, I'm going to have to do AT&T and keep my T-Mobile. I might be spending like I'm probably gonna be spending like $300 plus for internet just to try to maintain something consistent and stable, which uh it's like a dagger to the heart. It really is. Like, I I understand that this is a time and a season, and this is something that is not even about me. I'll figure it out. This is for my father's sake, and to try to make his last days the best as possible. So with that in mind, hey, I'll figure it out. Even if I have to go to a McDonald's Wi-Fi. But it just really sucks that I feel like I just been duped by a simple namesake, because the name of the company is Bluestream Fiber, and at least I thought that there was one of the major companies to be able to provide fiber at that location, yet I was mistaken. So now I'm really stuck. Yeah, I have to figure it out. I have to see what I'm gonna do. But it looks like, to start things right off the bat, I'm gonna have to order all the services. So I'm gonna order AT&T Air. I'm gonna need to use the T-Mobile and this Bluestream cable internet and anything else that I can find. My iPhone, all of them, they're gonna be meshed together whenever I need to, do a flow podcast or anything like that. I'm a little upset because of it, because like nobody's providing decent like speeds. Nobody. Like even if I wanted to, I'm like, I'm here to pay the money to get and it's not possible. So uh it sucks. It does. At least I think so. But I'm gonna make the most of it. We're gonna figure it out and see exactly how that works out. Good thing that at least the Flow podcast, we can do it at 1080, and that's at least a little bit better. But still, it's just such a feel like I'm going back to like Stone Age with internet, which for me is like I personally think that internet is like become one of the most essential things, because I don't even watch television. You know, like everything that I do is through the internet and through that pipeline. Like if I want entertainment, I'm on YouTube. If I'm gonna be working, I'm on YouTube. If I'm, you know, like everything is on YouTube and on a web browser, so to speak. Whether I'm researching, paying bills, you know, like learning, downloading programs, learning new things. Like another thing that I've also taken, you know, that I'm sort of gone in reverse to reverse engineering, is having to do with 3D printing. So now this is a whole nother thing that's happened recently, which is the reason why I haven't gone live with my rig junkie camera products for the FX series like I was supposed to take pictures, is because I've been having this constant problem with my 3D printer. It is very weird. I actually have a, oh, that's not it. This is it. A piece here to show you exactly what I'm dealing with as far as my printer goes. Now, I've been going down this rabbit hole and searching a variety of different things. It's well, let me show you. With the top down. All right. Sorry for the mess. But this is the situation that I'm having with my printer, or with my prints right now. You know what? Let me bring down the exposure on this camera. See that to give better contrast. Okay, little dark in the background, but we can see right there. You can see where the print is going perfect, and then it takes this weird divot and it just ruins the print. And it's not only so much here that visibly, right, like the product is, it looks damaged, right? That's a good shot right there. Not only is that it looks damaged, but now on other prints, like the ones for my rig junkie, they carry a lot more support material, because as it's being built from bottom up, right, like there needs to be like a floor to actually start printing on, so it builds the support. And then when there's like something that's like kind of floating in the air, what's called an overhang, that will actually just have some support material underneath it to start printing exactly how you want it. Now that's something that's very important in my other prints, and they're a lot bigger. And whenever this problem occurs here, this like under extrusion, right, where there's not as much material being like spread out, what ends up happening is that becomes the soft point. And on this support material, as you're putting more material on top of it, that becomes the weak point. So you're only as strong as your weakest point. And then as it's continued to build, let's say for example, the outside part of the part itself didn't look too bad. If I get any type of under extrusion like this on the support materials, that's what ends up failing, right? That's what ends up going and turning into just junk. And then there's no support material underneath whatsoever, and it just starts printing in the air, and the whole thing, you know, has to get canceled. It's unusable, it's just damaged. So that's exactly the rabbit hole that I've fallen down, and I've almost replaced like every aspect of my Bamboo Labs A1 Mini, that I'm gonna have to open up a ticket with A1 just to try to see if I can figure this out. Now, I could keep throwing money into this, right, and just trying to figure it out as I go down a rabbit hole, and I've already spent, you know, like I bought replacement parts and everything like that. But what I did was I got presented with an option on OfferUp. So let me go ahead and see if I can show you guys what's going on there. Actually, let's click there. Now, right back here, I'm gonna try to move this monitor. You know what? I'm gonna bring it down. All right, so you guys can see. Meet my reverse or backwards engineering, going backwards in printer technology, but this is a Creality Ender 3 printer. So this was like kind of the number one go-to. This was like the original 3D printer, or the original novice 3D printer machine. And because I have had them on my offer up from a long time, from even before when I bought the Bamboo Lab, then what ended up happening was that I found this. I got a good deal. It has like quite a few upgrades, but I got it for like 50 bucks. No, 60 bucks. This one, yeah, 60 bucks. So I picked it up. It was just down the street, and it's much older technology. So I'm not only reverse engineering, but I'm like reverse learning all the things that I should have learned. But I gotta be honest with you, Bamboo Labs pretty much has a lot of these things under wraps, like, you know, the bed leveling and all these things. So 100% I still recommend a Bamboo Lab printer and the A1 Mini if you're just starting out to getting into this hobby. But another thing that I'll also reference is that if you're not someone like me, that like if you're not a person who likes to tinker and to like make modifications and do things like that, then 3D printing in itself might not be for you altogether, because it's part of it. So that's why I said I already fell down the rabbit hole, and with the A1 Mini over here, I kind of know the ins and outs of that machine already. Like I've just been able to learn it. I learned so much going through this that I know how this entire system works, which is exactly what gave me the confidence, so to speak, to just say, you know what, let me go ahead and figure this out. Because, you know, I wish I would like to say that it was a problem with my actual design in the part, but it doesn't matter what it is that I'm printing. Even something like this that doesn't have supports will eventually get to a stage where it fails. Now, there's just one last thing that it could be, which is the motor itself. I'm thinking, because I'm just trying to be logical here. I'm like, the only thing that it could be is that the motor, it might be getting to a point where after so much printing, and now, you know, on another side note, I beat the hell out of this A1 Mini. Like, I have been keeping up with the maintenance, but it has over 1,700 hours of prints on it since I got it in like September, right? October last year. So I've been running this through the gamut, and now I think that the extruder motor is the culprit, right? I've been trying to go through all these like rabbit holes of trying to figure out, like, could it be this, could it be the material? Like, if you see the box that it's in right now, it was $30 box that I bought just to see if it was like the outside temperature, right? So I'm making a temperature controlled environment, and I'm doing everything with this thing, and I'm still getting this error. And it just, it's almost like a ghost in the machine. Like, I can't figure it out. So for that reason, I got this Ender 3, and now I'm messing with this and relearning all the things that I should have known, so to speak. And I'm, you know, a lot more of a learning curve. The biggest thing to get over this with the Ender 3 versus the A1 Mini, which is why I will still recommend that hands down, is the wireless capabilities. Now, I'm able to do everything on my computer, and as soon as I've, you know, made and tinkered enough, I'm able to just go ahead, hit print, right? And it sends the signal because it's connected to the computer, and it's just like a printer that you would use to like print a resume. Like, it's got that type of connection. This old school guy over here, the Ender 3, does not have that. Everything on this machine is like separate. So if I create a file that I want to print on it, I have to put it through its slicer program and then export it to the micro SD card that needs to be in the computer. Once that's done, I have to now disconnect that SD, put it into the, to the Ender 3 over here, turn that on, and then have it print off of the SD card. Like, all those extra steps, all taken care of with the Bamboo Labs aspect of it. So that's why I still recommend it. But as someone who loves to tinker, I'm learning a lot, and there's also other projects that I have in mind for that, like a PTEG recycling sensor, which I've seen done with the parts of the Ender 3, which is, in a nutshell, you're able to take a like Pepsi bottle that uses that same type of plastic and extrude a reusable filament. So you kind of reversing the plastic, so instead of just throwing away plastic bottles, both I believe the water bottles and the soda bottles, you're able to have a slicer machine that's going to take it, and then you're going to pull it through the extruder to make it into that 1.7 millimeter thickness, and then you're able to spool that and then use that on your other printers as material. So there's a lot of fun things that I have planned for this, but more importantly, I'm going to try to see if maybe I can just use that as a backup and get it to print my Rig Junkie files. And as soon as I get that going, then it gives me more leniency or more time to just try to figure out exactly what's going on with the A1 Mini over here. So that's exactly where I'm at. A bit frustrating, not gonna lie, but it's always a learning learning aspect to it, right? You don't lose, you learn. And you know another one like that's like Khaled says. So you don't lose, you learn. And I learned a lot from that machine, so much that it has allowed me to understand the Ender. And now I already got spare parts coming for the Ender, because I already want to make modifications to the original thing. And once I got that going, like, those parts should get here tomorrow. And I just picked this guy up yesterday. So that's exactly where I'm at with the Ender and things like that. But now let me see exactly where you guys are at in the chat. See what you guys are saying. All right. Sly's in the house saying hello, everyone. Hope you're all having a great weekend. Likewise. Sly says, I don't have fiber, but I have plenty of speed. Yeah, well, I'm hurting on the speed. I'm gonna have to use Speedify like all the time. Like, it's like, well, not that it's not running, it's just I'm gonna have to be dependent on it. You understand? I have to check it. Like, I think I'm gonna have to have like my cell phone and everything connected whenever I want to run a live stream for the foreseeable future. But with that being said, I could only hope that this new over the air internet, this 5G internet that is being sold as AT&T Air and T-Mobile Home and all this stuff, like I might, you know what? That might not be a bad idea. I might even double up on them. You know what I'm saying? Because I have the T-Mobile wireless box, but I know that the same system is sold by Metro PCS. So I'll probably just open up another account with Metro PCS to have two of those running, of the T-Mobile, which I believe are the ones that are running best at the moment at the new location in Coral Springs, and then also get the AT&T Air. But yeah, that's what we're going to be talking about next week. But regardless, it will be official that next week's live stream will be from my new place, and is gonna be Studio B. You understand? Studio number 2 of the Camera Junkie live stream is gonna be more of like what we're used to seeing when I'm in a hotel, like on the road, right? It's gonna be a bit jank, but I'll be working through that. But I'm excited. because it's gonna be all new. So looking forward to that at least. And we'll see. We're still gonna have to make it work. But you know what? There's gonna be somebody that's gonna be in a situation similar to mine. So I hope that my trials and tribulations are gonna lead to somebody learning from my jankness, so to speak, or my soon to be jankness. Says check your up speeds before you order all that. You might be surprised. I have to check it out, Sly, because like I'm talking with the people, and what they're just like what they're guaranteeing, like what it can say is one thing, but you also have, well, at least I think of, we have to be thinking peak congestion, right? Like when everyone is using the internet at the most, and if I need to upload at that moment, and how is that gonna go? I'm gonna be honest as well. This has to do with, you know, first world problems. I'm spoiled with a gig up and down over here on the fiber, and if I could have gotten half of that consistently, I would have been happy with blue stream fiber thing, whatever. But it just hurts. I guess you see, like I did it to myself when you really think about it, right? I feel duped, but this is that famous saying, expectation is like the thief of joy, right? Because I could have been happy with anything, but because I had blue stream fiber, my expectation was fiber. So I was expecting that, and anything less than what I expected already is like just a failure, right? I'm being honest, right? I'm being as forthcoming as I can. So it probably, you're right, it could be okay, but I already feel misled just because of the name. I'll be like, why are you gonna name, like, why? Just, you couldn't, like, ah, they couldn't call themselves, you know, Blue Stream Internet, fast internet services. Why the word fiber? uh oh, that's right. How you doing, Gretchen? She goes, ooh, I made it. I couldn't miss the last show. And then Paul says, at this location. Exactly. Because the show will go on, but um the place is pretty cool. Like, I like it. I think there's gonna be, well, there's gonna be so much more space. So I'm gonna do my best. I'm letting you guys know now that I'm gonna do my best to to take advantage of all the space that I have there. It's on the second floor. There's a balcony that like wraps around. So I'm thinking, you know, there's gonna be some like there's gonna be some really cool options for some angles there, especially that the direction where you can see outside is kind of northwest, so should be able to get like a lot of like sunsets and that nice golden hour type of colors coming in from like the sliding glass doors that lead to the balcony. So, you know, I'm already thinking things out now, just to give you guys a little bit of a, you know, like just a precursor, right? A yeah, let's just use that word, that'll be fine. But no, like a bit of a mental preview, right? As soon as you walk into the apartment, the kitchen's to the left. There's the like utility closet to the right, and just past the closet leads to the first hallway, which directly to the left has the first restroom, and then the first bedroom, which is just right off to the right. Um, Moving forward, you have just like a slight turn off of the first restroom that leads to what would be the dining area that just flows into an open concept into the living room, which is where you would see the sliding glass doors, and then the second bedroom off to the right. Now, my plans is that my father, I'm gonna kind of make it like an all-in-one system where he's gonna have his television, his lazy boy, his computer, his bed, and everything in his room, and he's gonna occupy the main or the master bedroom that has the master bath directly to it, so that all of his needs for the restrooms and things like that, no matter what time of day or night, he has direct access without having to open up, like the door and step outside. So he's gonna be like taken care of, and it's all gonna be concealed right there. Aiden is gonna be taking over the first bedroom, so to speak. Like, I am gonna be sharing this space for sleeping purposes, but mostly that's where he's gonna be doing his thing, and it's just gonna be his own space. And then I am going to be consuming kind of that dining room slash living room area. I'm not going to really be doing a dining room because there's really no reason for it, especially just the lifestyle. So I'm going to create that into be kind of like the living room area, instead of having like a chandelier for, like, like the dinner. Is just going to be an overhead light for that, like, kind of small area. Then what would be the traditional living room area near to the sliding glass doors, that's going to be studio B, and that's where I'm going to be doing all of my work. I'm planning on having like the 3D printers and things going off into the background, and kind of setting up something similar to what I have here, but in the corner where, like, the sliding glass door will be kind of in the same area as where my windows sit right now, right? So that instead of it just being a window, it's going to be sliding glass doors all the way down. So that if I were to move over to like a shot like this, and then just move the camera, right, over to there, you could actually see what I was saying about like the sunsets and all of those things. All the colors and everything will be coming in through the sliding glass, but it's just going to be a lot more space altogether to give me the ability to play with that. Plus, I'm just going to set it up where, like I said, I'm going to maximize the space. So that's kind of the mental visual layout. um yeah, and I'm also thinking of making it more like an island aspect. Now, this, even though I enjoy it a lot with the teleprompter, I do want to move it back a bit to get more of a different angle. So instead of having like such a wide angle here and having it up close, I want to use more of a telephoto type of like lens. So I'm gonna be keeping the similar style setup here, right? Where's that shot? This one, right? So I'm gonna be keeping kind of like the similar style here, like this. The only difference that I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna take the desk itself and separate it so that I'm not so close to the teleprompter. Thus, it's gonna allow me to use a completely different lens on here. I'm gonna use something more telephoto, so it's just gonna give me a different style of compression that I think I'm gonna enjoy. Something 35 millimeters or higher, not as wide. So it will give me more to play with creatively, and that's what I'm looking forward to. Plus, it'll give me a better, I think, overall aesthetic when it comes to like reading things off the teleprompter. The only difference is I'm reaching that age where the right now the teleprompter is at the perfect distance and size for me to be able to read what's on it. Moving that further back, the texts are gonna have to be embiggened to be able to read that correctly. So that's what I'm looking at. Gotcha says, I'm turning over a new leaf and trying to conserve words. That's so funny. Mookie MC's in the house says, I had that issue with a specific print before. Other prints that reached that print height were fine. It was a problem with the specific file STL, thus the G code file. Check it for errors. Funny that you say that, Mookie, because I did. I even used an application called like STL file fixer, right? And ran it through it to make sure that it was like a good G code and that it didn't have any holes, right? He said bed leveling is a pain on the Ender 3. Yeah, but you see, like, this is something that I got because I'm nerdy. So this is something that I've had for a while, but now I also get to use it a lot more because I'm gonna use it for the bed leveling, which is, for those who might know what these are, some who don't, these are called feeler gauges. These have like all the specific sizes and different like thicknesses so that you can see exactly how thick a distance is. And this is an automotive part, right? Like this is when you're doing like lashes on motors, and you need to have precise distances and tolerances. So as you can see, you can go from something of 0.0015 or 0.04 millimeters, right, which is paper thin, as you can see, and have all the different tolerances and thicknesses throughout. So this is what I'm going to be using to space the exact distance that I want instead of a piece of paper with the Ender 3. But I haven't had the time with all the move and everything to actually dedicate to that. It was just like a crazy good deal, $60 for an Ender 3. It came with an entire kilogram of filament. So this, 15, worst case scenario, $10, but still. So now this is $10 less than I had to do. It came with like another $40 piece, right? Which is why I pulled the trigger on this unit. And it's made from Creality as well, and it's an automatic bed leveler. So it's designed to do all of like the bed leveling like the Bamboo Labs does. So it's like an add-on part, and that add-on part to any Ender 3 is also like an extra $40. So it was kind of like a no-brainer with the modifications and the upgrades that this unit had, and for what he was asking for $60. It was just like, hey, you know what, I can keep throwing money at the Bamboo, or I can just maybe get this one to go, and once it's going, I can just use this to print my rig junkie stuff while I still figure this out. Because at the end of the day, like I said, you have to be a person who tinkers and likes this stuff. But second, I also, for my own mind's sake, like for my own splinter in my mind, I have to figure that out. Excuse me. I have to figure that out. Like, for me to continue and to make more parts and want to sell them in the way that I want to, I need to know why that's happening, so that I'd be able to correct it not only on this printer but on any future printer that I come across, right? Whether it's an Ender 3 or a bigger version of another Bamboo, because that new HD2 or H2D, whichever variation of it, that thing looks amazing. So now, for the printing junkies and everything, this, let me not put my foot in my mouth. Let me see exactly what it's called. Just opening up the Bamboo Lab website. Well, the reason why I want to get the name right is because this thing is not just a 3D printer. It is a multi-head 3D printer, meaning it has the ability to print two different, not only colors, but two different types of materials altogether, right? Because it has the ability to like switch nozzles, because it has two hot ends, and it can switch whichever one it wants to. So you could print a cheaper or a specific material for the support, and then the part itself is going to be in a completely like more expensive material. You understand? So instead of wasting money on the more expensive material on support, you're able to use a less expensive, completely different type of material with it. Let me see, it's the printers, and it's the H2D, and it's called Personal Manufacturing Hub. Actually, you know what? Let me go to. Let me just pull this off. Let me minimize this and biggen that, and I should be able to share the screen. Let me make sure we're seeing the right thing. we're not seeing the right thing. Share screen, not primary display. Let's do Chrome. Okay, Chrome is there. Now let's publish. We should be seeing that. Perfect. Okay. So you're seeing now what I'm seeing in the Bamboo Labs H2D, and this is what they're calling their like hub, right? Because you see, like right there, right off the bat, you can see it says dual nozzle, multi-material 3D printing, right? But if you can see this next upgrade here, it says laser. So now you're able to take the tool head off of this 3D printer and throw on top of it a laser, which can do like laser cutting on certain woods that are thin enough, but like it just like burns through it so that it does that type of, like, I guess, CNCing, but also like laser etching. At that same time, that unit also has a blade that you can add to it, so that then you can start doing like vinyl cutouts like those Cricut machines, right? And what's the last version of it? This thing does everything. Like this, yeah, the laser infused one, it does everything. Oh, you see, and it's got a 10 and a 40 watt option. They said, for the money, get the 40 watt. It's like overkill when it comes to the laser power, but it's the one that also does the best in the cutting. So this has the laser, it has the like cutting for vinyl and different materials, plus it does the dual nozzle multi-material 3D printing, and it's got the AMS system. This thing is super nice. You understand? And also enclosed, so you can do every material. ABS. It's got a built-in carbon filtration system. This thing is the bee's knees. But this is the whole thing. There's no way that I could validate $3,000, right? $3,600, $4,000 for a machine like this, if I'm going to use it for my business, if at any point whatsoever I can come across a like layering issue that I'm coming across right now and not know how to fix it, and not know, hey, you know what? This is exactly what's going on. And this is the whole thing. There's the difference between down and out, right? The difference between those two, because you see, like my A1 Mini, to me right now, it's down, but it's not out, right? If I can't figure this thing out, and then I'm just like, it's cheaper to just buy another printer, right? And now I'm treating Bamboo Lab like 3D printers the same way you treat like these HP $30 printers that you get on a Black Friday deal at Walmart. I find that to be a problem. You understand? I do not think of this machine in the same realm as a throwaway printer and just like, hey, just it's cheaper to buy another one. Like, if it's like that, like there has to be a completely different system. And I know that it's possible because that's how people run print farms, right? But at the same time, I don't see too many print farms on the A1 minis, right? It's a great, excuse me, my mustache hair fell into my mouth, so apologies. But like I just can't have that. I just can't have like throwaway printers. So for me to dedicate money into something like this, which is so nice, right? I need to know that at the end of the day, I can get the parts where I can fix it myself and keep it running, because that's part of like, doing business, so to speak. So that's the way that I see it. Mookie says, excuse me, I got a Raspberry Pi with Octoprint image to hook it up to the Ender 3 and put my Pi on home network to print without transferring to SD cards. You see? But this is the important thing, right? This is all very cool, and that's the cool part about the Ender 3. Like, it has almost limitless potentials for you to continue to make it and tinker it, right? Because tinkering keeps your mind active, right? And continue to like tinker around with it, but it's at a cost, right? Because all of these things is just like more money that you're investing into this. And that's what I'm saying, like these printers are not cheap, but they're not so expensive, right? And for me, if you're starting off new, the $250 that you spend on the A1 Mini just straight out of the box, that comes with all of these features without, like, because a Raspberry Pi will probably cost you like another 40, maybe $60, depending on the exact system, right? To add that onto there just to get the wireless capabilities, which is amazing. But this thing already has it built in. So that's where I say, like, that's the advantage. Okay, hold on. Yes. That's the advantage, so to speak, that in my mind, where I say it's all in one, it's in there, it's built. You know, there might be somebody saying, "Bro, you got 1,500, hours out of that machine without like any serious problems. Like you should be thanking the 3D printing gods," which I might. You understand? I might be completely out of line with this, but still, at the end of the day, I need to figure out what's going on with this printer. So. Excuse me. K-Wall is in the house. How you doing, Kathy? She says, my nephew was gifted a 3D printer mushroom chess set, and it was so awesome. Uh, I totally understand. It's a hobby. Yeah, like this is the other thing. I've even thought about moving away from what these types of printers are completely, which these are called FDM printers, right? Which is like melting plastic, to the full resin printers. But I just can't risk it like with Aiden. Like that would have to be more of like a print farm thing where it's a complete system setup, because on top of it, you're gonna need like specific gloves. Like the materials themselves are toxic. Like there's the fumes, the so many things that I was just looking at it. There was some good deals online for some like starter resin 3D printers. And I know that I would love the whole process as well as the hobby goes. Just couldn't do it with the situation right now. I'd rather stay with the FDMs where I can control all the smells and everything that comes with it, and it's non-toxic. Ernesto is in the house. How you doing, bro? He's saying yo. Gretchen says, I have used Speedify all the time. Yeah, like I said, but it's using it and depending on it are the two differences. So we're gonna see, but we're gonna get through it. If Ecamm could run an entire conference off of an iPhone using Speedify, I think I should be able to mesh a couple of wireless networks to get a decent enough upload speed. But fingers crossed on that. I have to take 2 of my one a day vitamins. What's up with that? These companies need to do more with the truth in their names. I love that. That's so funny. I need to take 2 one a days. That defeats the name in the name, right? Like, oh, that's so funny. Paul says I have 1 gig down and 40 up, but when I use Speedify, I have 400 down and 40 up. I guess he means when he doesn't use it. Jeremy's in the house. You see, like Jeremy does 3D printing, and I even sent him like a message. I'm like, bro, I've been hitting this thing from every angle. Like, do you have any clue? And he's like, I think it's under extrusion. So this is my Jeremy, you'd understand. My only guess that I have right now, right? Of everything that I've replaced and everything, so like it's a bit frustrating because I think I'm gonna have to buy another part, right? But this last part that I think it needs is the actual motor for the extruder. And what I'm thinking is happening and I could be completely wrong, but this is just like my engineering like background, I guess, is just trying to figure out what could be causing this issue. Is that I think that the motor is overheating. Right? That motor is like it's going and it's like, okay, so think about it. It's room temperature, it's not hot at all, right? But now through the wear and tear and all the hours that I put through that motor, it turns on, and as I start using it, it starts heating up. And it starts going until it gets to a point where it gets to this like max heat. And when it gets to this max heat, if you know anything about magnets, which these are all magnet motors, magnetic fields don't do well in heated environments. If you heat up a magnet, it loses its magnetic properties. So if it reaches a point, and this is just me overthinking it, I guess, right? If the motor itself reaches a heating point where it starts losing its magnetism because of the heat, then you can spin it up to all high hell with all the electricity and all the signals to say spin here, but it's not going to spin. And during that cool down process where it's not really making contact as well, it's under extruding and just messing up the entire print until it just kind of cools off again enough to start like gaining momentum, start working the way, and start extruding the way that it should. And that's when it resumes in print. But at that point, it's already too little too late. Here, give me. All right. Aiden's just bugging me because his iPad just died, so now he needs me to charge it. And whenever that happens, he tends to get a little upset. Okay, clean up all your toys. It's okay. He gets into cleanup mode, so maybe it's a good thing. So Jeremy was saying, because I was talking about that, he says, "Hey gang, sorry I'm late. Studio One farewell party." No, bro, you made it. It's been a Lewis complaining about his internet and feeling gypped at his new apartment party. Slide says, "I'm getting 450 down and 80 up. I run 2 computers and stream on the TV. Never had any problems except when someone cut the line." Well, I've had that problem here too, but the thing is, it's mostly the upload speeds. You understand? Look at whiny guy. Whiny Aiden. His iPad died and now he is whiny. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. You are live to the world. You are crying over here over your iPad. Come here. Look. Say hi to everybody. Everybody see you. You're so lucky that it doesn't matter because I love you. I love you the most. I love you the freaking most. Come on. Come on. Just hang out. Aiden, we're doing the live stream. Come on. And we're moving. Not for nothing, Aiden's been an amazing trooper heading out with me to, offload all of these boxes and everything like that. So he's been a really good co-pilot for all of the trips. All right, so Jeremy says, "Oh yeah, I use feeler slap gap gauges all the time when grinding malt to make beer." Very interesting. He also says, "You can still have my the ABS drive up here and get it." Yeah. If you don't mind spending. Now, this system that he's talking about is a huge printer. It is like a refrigerator size printer. Aiden, chill, please. Just he's getting of age and he's being cranky. Aiden. So it's funny the printer that Jeremy is like offering up because that thing is big. Still don't have the space for it, but my next place maybe, my next place maybe. So Gretchen also says, to me, Tinker equals rabbit hole and chaos. Lewis Tinker, invention and creativity. Yeah, it's totally different. I've always been, well, I've mentioned it here before, but fixing my mom's VCR and things like that. I've always had to have the need to know how the things work so that I can fix it myself if I need to be dependent on it. So now that I'm trying to be dependent on making these parts through my own system using, FDM 3D printers, I need to figure out what's going on here. I definitely need to figure, like, even if it's just for myself, like, even if I never come across this problem again, that's going to be a splinter in my mind that I need to know, is it something that's just this printer or this could happen to any printer? But from the research that I've been seeing online, I'm not the only one that's come across with these like layer separation issues. So Sherry says, "Dude, Aiden as big as you. What you been feeding him? He had a growth spurt last year, so yes, and Aiden is the star, absolutely. So, I love that boy. He just wants my attention right now. That's it. So you're just gonna have to wait a little bit longer. We're almost done, Aiden. Okay, we're gonna do Cities God, and we're gonna wrap things up. Mookie says, have you checked the tightness of the gears on any of the springs levelers, the little windy things, in the extruder head drive? And once cracked plastic housing provided inconsistent tension of filaments. Okay, so that's very interesting, but I know on the A1, none of those are the issue. That's why I'm really thinking like when I started having when I see the issue happen instantly, it's just like hit the button, stop the print, abort mission, right? And that's why you see that it just printed a little bit more. Oh, I'm still on this wide view. So see, like it just printed this much more. Well, I sat there just like I turned to do something with Aiden, and when I looked back at the printer, it had done the damage and moved across it, so I stopped it. Um, it's inconsistent. It doesn't do it exactly the same spot. It's man, I can't tell you like I wish it was something as simple like that. It was the inconsistent pressure because of something cracking. Like I've done it all. Like I've replaced the hot end. I've I've gone through a lot of different things and I've just gone through the forums and I've just been digging and I'm like, this is the problem that I'm having, and just like kept on asking. Like I asked Jeremy. So it's like I know exactly, like I know what it's doing. I don't know why it's doing it. That's the whole thing. And the last time I checked, the motor itself was really hot. I have the ability to kind of buy that whole like extruder unit for like $30 from Bamboo, but if you start putting all the pieces together like in a replacement belts and a couple of motors and things like that, you're just literally almost at the price of buying the printer again, which is exactly where I'm like, which is my dilemma. Like, is like, are these like the new HP printers where it's just like use them, and once you get over 1,500 hours, it's just like, what? That's spent. You understand? And get a new one. So, um, if so, if that is exactly what's happening with these, that after just a certain amount of hours, you need to replace like all the motors and things like that, like that will really make me think twice about my next purchase, and which is going to be the next, like, the next printer that I buy. And if so, knowing the cost of running, right? The cost of, function when it comes to that. So, Aiden showing for the party. Yep. If you can see the face of guilt that he's giving me down there, you'd be laughing just like me. He goes, so with you about figuring out 3D printing stuff, I have wasted so much filament tinkering, getting out little bit by little bit. Yes, I've spent at least 2 kilograms of filament just running tests and then just like stopping them like this, and then okay, it's not this, it's this, and this is the hardest part, which is all the part of process of tinkering, right? You can't just replace a bunch of stuff at the same time. You can't. And this is the whole thing. If you replace something, right, and it doesn't fix the problem, then you have to kind of put the part that you replaced back to the original. And then go look and try to see if it's something else. So it's this like kind of like move forward, take a step back, move forward 2 steps, take another step back, move forward 2 steps, take another step back. And it's just like this constant iterative process of putting things back on. And that's why I said, like, now I know that unit like the back of my hand, because I've been forced to do a bunch of different things that I didn't think that I would ever have to need to. Now it's to the point where I've gotten to the entire housing, and the only thing that I'm thinking is that is the motor. So now I'm trying to prevent of having to buy a new motor, but I am gonna put this proof of concept and I'm gonna show you what I'm doing. These are copper heat sinks that I bought for the back of my camera projects, right? With a little adhesive. I'm thinking I'm gonna sandwich the motor with these guys, right? Think I'm gonna put these on the hot spots of the motor and sandwich the motor on the inside with these, in hopes that this will dissipate some of that heat that could be concentrating itself within the motor itself. And if I put these bad boys on and somehow I magically get past this part and we're printing without like issues that I'm having before, then this will honestly like put my concept of idea of the motor overheating 100% into like almost validating that idea, right? Because I've done every aspect of this. So that's going to be the next step. I'm going to take these because I already have them and they cost me $0. Like, they didn't cost me $0, but it's money that's already been spent, instead of spending like an extra $30 on something that I might not even need, because that's what would really suck, right? That I replaced the motor and I'm still dealing with the same problem, which now just look, I'm not even going to jump to that conclusion just yet, but it might be in the future. So there it goes. Foreshadowing. That was the word that I was trying to think about earlier but the brain with lack of energy tends to forget words. So Jeremy also says, yet another support group, Ecam fam, that has issues, 3D Paul says, I don't think so. He's like, I'm not dealing with that. Like, I am not moderating that. Says, by the way, I'm drying TF out of my filament. You've got to be at a humid time this year, could potentially be an issue. Yeah, but now let me show you. Because that's what I'm telling you. Like, I've done everything. So, you know what? Let me show you. Let me show you. I'm going to go ahead to the PTZ cam. Right? Okay. It might. What happened to the? Let me see here. Move it. Oh, let's zoom in. It looks a little different, doesn't it? Because I bought a containment box. Okay, so what you're seeing there is my printer inside of this, as you can see, like silver lined, like heat shielded lining box called Top Cube. So that Top Cube basically houses the entire printer, so that now I'm able to moisture and like control all of the, excuse me, all of the like temperatures and the humidity and all the factors of the system on the inside. Right there into the front, let me see if I can get my hand in the shot. This part right here where it says Creality, right there in the front, as you can see, is holding a spool right there, is actually my new dryer system. So I bought a filament dryer and I've been doing all the processes to dry the filament to specification. I mean 8 hours at 65 degrees Celsius and just have that thing baking. What I've also been able to do is to create a heated chamber, because at the same time what I've done is that I've disconnected the part where it just dries the filament. So as soon as I'm done drying the filament, as soon as I'm done drying the filament, I take that top off like I just demonstrated, right? I'll close it back up, yet I'll leave the dryer from the filament little enclosure inside of this top cube, and I'll have that kind of create the dryness and the heat. And now I have a heated chamber in there. I've gotten that little box to go up to like 104 degrees Fahrenheit, right, through the heater element from the Creality little system. And I've gotten the humidity inside while it's printing down to like 12%. So 12% humidity inside the box. I get the filament down to 10% humidity. And I, as far as the specific, just as far as the specifications go that are needed for these filaments, right? And even some require you to have it like still drying, like the wood PLA, to actually continue to dry while you're using it, while you're consuming it. So doing all of that and controlling everything, replacing parts, like I said, I've been doing everything on this thing. And still, like, this was my latest print. As you can see, like, temperature control, like, go back to the top view. All the layer lines are so nice. Like, it is so smooth. It is like a perfect print. Let me see if I can get the angle to show you the, yeah, you see, like, to be able to show some of that reflection, because I used a build plate with like a design, like a camo design. I think you can see it a little bit. It almost looks like Damascus. There you go. There's focusing on it. There you go. So you see like this Damascus etch on it, which I love, right? And the print is coming out perfect until the doom. Look at that. Oh, it hurts my heart. It under extrudes. So one or two things are gonna happen. Hopefully this works and I can get the printers going. And if so, it's not something that I'll be doing all the time, but then it gives me the confidence to buy a replacement motor and then know that this is something that could happen, right? And if I start seeing these under extrusions, to start checking the temperatures of these motors when they're running. Because once, like I said, once it starts going and I touch that motor, it is like burn your fingers to the touch hot. So I'm hoping that that's the issue that we're dealing with here. And like I said, if I did find out that that was the issue that was causing this malfunction on my printer, then it gives me the confidence to move forward using this, others, and knowing that that motor being super crucial and having an overheating aspect of the motor could be an issue. Another thing that it could lead to, which is where my mind is going, just so you know, is to start using external fans. So if the motor is overheating, Well, then I'm gonna create a 3D part, right, where I'll be able to hold this and then funnel the air from this fan to that motor, and then start just, this and this, keeping everything nice and cool, and then being able to use these motors within the heated enclosure without risk of that motor overheating and then under extruding. I know, like, hopefully all of this makes sense, because it's just like a bunch of words that are probably not like in everybody's vocabulary, but hopefully they're almost self-explanatory enough where you could follow along. But that's where I'm at, Jeremy, and everybody. That's where it's at. I gotta tell you, you guys make this my favorite place to be every single week. So I gotta thank you as always, because it still is an exhausting week. I've had to do so much driving, so much moving, so much, like, and I still got so much more to go. My sister was hanging out at my father's place today, finalizing all the things, but they left me 24 boxes there that I need to go pick up and move to said location B, right? To Studio B as well. So that's what I'm gonna be doing tomorrow all day, right? I'm gonna be knocking out as many of these trips as possible. Most importantly is, I think that we need to make sure that Pops is out of his apartment so that we're not charged another month there, right? Like, it's one thing to pay rent at, two different locations. It's really tough paying it at three, right? So if worse comes to worse and I need to, like, pay a little extra or another month, I would much rather have it done here, which also guarantees me good internet and a lot of things for the future productions of August, which might also give me the time to secure the internet at said location B. So that's all encompassing. So um, follow along if you want to figure, or if you want to find out how I figure this out, because it's going to be a bunch of stuff. So um, but I'm excited because there's just also a lot more space, so I'll be able to dedicate specific spaces for like the printers and things like that, and it's not gonna be all in one. A lot more room, so I'm definitely looking forward to that. So let me see. I think I missed one. It says an enclosure helps holding the heat, help the heat bed out of control the warping but also means that the motors run much hotter environment can really cool them down. Yeah. So I guess you see that that could be an issue, but you see, then Jeremy says, I would assume that bamboo would have accounted for that, but who knows? Yeah, that's the whole thing. Like, who knows? But that's where I'm doing my research, because, if it's like this guy's always saying, Paul Chambery, that is always saying, like the built-in what is it? Designed adolescence, right? Like, where obsolescence, design obsolescence, where you're basically, putting in the faults ahead of time to make your system fault so that you need a replacement, right? And someone like me, right, if I'm like saying like, oh, if I'm gonna buy a Bamboo Labs printer, I already know that my experience with the system is gonna want something more than the A1 Mini again. So it's almost like the gateway drug, right? And now because it died, I want to buy the bigger and badder ones that probably won't die, but have a much higher price tag. So, and Mookie says, true, I don't own one, so I'm inexperienced with that system. Yep. Hey, Logan made it. He says, could only stop in, but cheers on the final stream in the studio. Hey, Logan, you made it, so I appreciate you. And we're past the hour quite a bit, but we're hanging out and we're doing our thing. It's not like much changes around here, right? But that's why I absolutely love this, because we get to hang out and always, bounce off of each other, and you guys make this stream just as much as I do. So as always, thank you for taking the time and hanging out. Now, if you're still here with me, then this is the time where I think that I've earned that thumbs up. So please be sure to hit that like button. It is highly appreciated and it's absolutely free. But before we finish things off, let me make sure that I'm in the right screens. Where's my mouse here? All right, so let's move that over here. There we are. All right. Saw one of his videos today. So let's get to it. This is the thing that's missing right now. So we're leading right into it. Cities God, channels that I think you should go and watch. And today's Cities God is Mr. Tom Colton. Now, Tom has a really cool channel about photography. Now, if you've never heard of him, let me be the one to introduce you to his channel. As you can see, a lot of the similar thumbnails because he's a photography camera junkie at heart. As you can see, he does a variety of different cameras and he has a style all his own. I really enjoy his videos. So if you like to be educated and informed on a variety of different cameras, but also have a nice humor aspect to it, then I highly recommend Mr. Tom Colton. Like, I really enjoy his videos. They're a lot of fun. And as you can see, this one right here, the most groundbreaking lens of 2025, you know, there's definitely a British humor to him, so to speak. But if you haven't heard of him, then let me be the one to introduce you to Mr. Tom Colton. I really enjoy his content. It's educational, but also has a lot of like quirkiness to it. So it's funny because sometimes like I wish I could be this silly, but at the same time I know who I am, and that's like how I enjoy it, because if I wasn't me, then it wouldn't allow Tom to be Tom, right? The differences are what make some people really great. So uh, let me be the one to introduce you, Mr. Tom Colton, to this week's Cities God, channels that I think you should go and watch. And we did it, guys. This was episode 243. And if you're wondering, like, wow, that's a lot of episodes. What's a little bit more impressive is 243 consecutive weeks of doing this live stream every single Saturday night. So if you're still here, please be sure to subscribe, mark it down on your calendar so you don't miss next week's upload. Same time, same place, right here on the Mr. Camera Junkie YouTube channel. Now, next week, we're going to be doing it no matter what, even if it's not the highest quality stream, but we're definitely going to be doing it, even if it's like one of these hotel live streams at lesser quality, but we are going to be doing it from the new location. So I can't wait to see all of your smiling faces as we do it and start learning on how we're going to be doing it in this new location. So I'm excited for the challenges, and I really want to see like how I'm gonna put my skills to work, right? How am I gonna do the lighting, um a lot of different aspects, and how I'm even going to like what's gonna be the aesthetic, right? Like how am I gonna design it? This one was very cluttered, and I'm not sure if I'm gonna go with that again. You understand? I might keep it a little bit more minimalistic, but we'll all see, because it also has to do with the way that my mind works, right? And I'll let you know that my mind works out of sight, out of mind. If sometimes I put things into a drawer and it's like I could have just buried it in a time capsule in the backyard, because if it's out of my sight, then it's out of my mind. So certain things that I need to have out in the open must stay in the open so that I can continue to use them, but that's just my own dilemmas. But guys, thank you as always for hanging out here. You make this my favorite place to hang out, and I can't thank you enough. So we'll be doing it all over again, same time, same place, right here on the Mr. Camera Junkie YouTube channel. I can't wait to see all of your smiling faces as we do it all over again. And until then, take care of yourselves and each other, and I will see you next time. Talk to you.